Good morning. Good morning, Greg.
Hi there.
Morning, Greg.
Good morning.
Thanks so much for joining us, Greg.
Yeah, my pleasure. Looking forward to sharing some things with you. And I know you guys chat with each other a lot, so I'm the newbie here, but yeah, happy to share. I'm hoping that my colleague, she's a doctoral student at ISU Bethany, is sort of the, really savvy person with GivePulse. I can do enough to be dangerous here, but she would be able to give you the details that you need.
Great, but she did RSVP that she was coming, so hopefully she'll make it on.
She did say though she was traveling until like last night, so she's hopefully her trip went well and she's back at work on Friday morning here. But otherwise, I'll do my best and we could keep going. Actually, I can jump in a little bit with some background work. So they, when we've deployed,
Greg. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're just going to wait a minute. I'm going to see if Supervisor Merkin's going to join us.
She's on.
Oh, is she on?
Mm-hmm. Morning, Lisa.
Oh, good morning, Linda.
Good morning, Linda.
there's Bethany. She's here. Hey, Bethany.
Great. Bethany's here. Great. And since this is a Board of Supervisors work session in regards to GivePulse, I'll just call the meeting to order at 9:01 a.m. and then I'll just turn it over to you, Greg and Bethany, if you want to talk about, we'd like you to talk about GivePulse, kind of what it is, how it works, just so that we, the three of us, have kind of a better understanding of how that is supposed to help elicit volunteers.
Sure. So I can get started. So I'm a faculty member in the Department of Kinesiology, but my real passion is with community engagement. So I'm a public health oriented faculty member. So I teach public health and community health. And so for many years, I've been building these notions of mutually beneficial partnerships between the campus and community, and GivePulse is a tool that we've subscribed to for, I'd say, almost 7 or 8 years. And I've had a previous doctoral student that kind of ran it in a low capacity, but we tried to reach mainly students on campus to get that started. But over the last 4 years, I've led a group on campus called U-Turn. And I might just give you that little overview of what it is I do, because I think that'll set the stage for Bethany a little bit, if I can share my screen. So I think it'll be easier for you to understand this concept. So as a faculty member, my interests are in advancing science and practice. And so U-Turn stands for Translational Research Network. And so you see on the screen here, there's 3 different facets of what we do. We support translational scholarship, teaching, and outreach. We foster community campus partnerships by connecting researchers, and we facilitate translation of programs into practice. So that's the essence of what U-Turn does. And there's multiple teams and projects, but one of our major areas of emphasis is this notion of community engagement. And we have a really strong group of faculty and staff and students that really care about this notion of community engagement. So one thing I wanted to say off the top is that the campus wants to reach out and support the local community. And we've been working with the local United Way, and that's where Bethany and I have made these inroads with sharing the potential of GivePulse, but it's just one facet of what we do. So rather than just saying we have a tool, we'd like to embrace the notion of a partnership that we could sustain over time, that really brings the campus community together. And so this is some of the things that we emphasize doing is building partnerships and connections between the campus and community, promoting student outreach and volunteerism through GivePulse and many other tools. And this notion of the Community Engagement Collective, there's many other faculty and staff from across the campus that are involved in this. So I'm just one representative of this larger effort. So you'll see here that it includes a number of us that work on U-Turn, as well as people in Extension, people that work in CELT, which is our Center for Excellence in Learning and Teaching, people that work in many other labs and groups on campus. And this is just a small list. We also have really strong partnerships with, as you've seen, Ann Owens has been involved with us in the Volunteer Center of Story County. So I know that our tool, GivePulse, is an alternative to what she used to do, but we've been working with Ann for many years. She knows me. We've tried to find common ground on GivePulse versus Get Connected for many years. But I think GivePulse is a more powerful tool, and we'll show you why we think that's the case. And we'd be open to having Ann still be involved, but we also work really closely with Nancy Franz, who you might know is a strong leader in community engagement for many years. She's retired, but she's still very passionate about this. But anyway, that's the essence of this hub that we have. You'll see on our website also that if I go up to the very top, we talk about the engagement pathways. So we have multiple ways where we try to engage and connect with community partners, and some of these refer to volunteerism. So interest in volunteering as a group, organization, or individual. And so this is a service we provide, trying to help promote volunteerism, and this involves using GivePulse. You'll see GivePulse is listed here on our pathway. And so GivePulse is also linked. We have these various ways that people can connect to our group. And so we talk about community partners, and you'll notice we have a separate tab here on GivePulse Community Partners where we explain what GivePulse is. And we know that most people in the community aren't going to know how to find us here, but this is just how we communicate with each other internally, and how the project gets managed here at Iowa State. But these are features of GivePulse that we'll talk about: recruiting and managing volunteers, posting and managing registrations, facilitating fundraising, fostering collaborations with partner agencies, tracking impact, helping on grant writing. And we have ways that community partners can connect through us, and that's through this group we call the Community Campus Partnership for Health. And so this is a separate website that I've been leading for many years. It's a hub that I put together to somewhat support work in Story County. Initially, I worked really closely with Eileen Mullen a number of years. I'm sure some of you know Eileen from way back. Do you guys know her when she was, okay, I thought you might. So she used to direct the Story County Health Department, and I worked with her on this vision of we called it the Story County Quality of Life Alliance. And back in, say, 2010, we had a really strong partnership with many groups that all came together about setting collective goals. And we did a lot of really nice work at that time. And I built this notion of a community engagement hub around that same time. But CCPH works with the Volunteer Center, or at the time it worked with Story County Quality of Life Alliance, but later I've extended that to help other counties. So, you know, I've kind of not done as much with the Volunteer Center, or I always say that the Story County Quality of Life Alliance, and the Story County Health Office now is managed by Les White, who you know, and so I still know her, but we've pursued partnerships with many other counties around the state, and Bethany can share some of what we've done with different counties there with regard to GivePulse. Bethany also leads a club called the Community Engagement Club that's really a powerful tool, because we use the club to kind of help support local communities. And so Bethany can mention a little bit more about this club, but there's many students that would want to support local organizations and help them do these very tasks we're talking about. And so kind of a one-on-one assistance. So the Community Engagement Club can be a link or a liaison to community organizations to help connect in a more tangible way. So we have different levels of support. They could just have GivePulse, or we could support them, or maybe there's some, you know, really strong partnerships that could evolve. But this is more of an outwardly facing website that's designed for a campus community partnership. So it talks about, you know, there's a vision here, and there's a community partnerships where we talk about GivePulse. And right now we even have a option for community partners to get access to GivePulse right now. And so we've been, no one knows to go there, but we basically have a system already in place where any community organization can opt in and use GivePulse. But I think what we'd like to share with you is, yeah, the potential of doing this in a more systematic way. So maybe I'll stop sharing there, and I can either answer some questions or just turn it over to Bethany to give you a little bit of a more detailed overview of GivePulse. Does that sound good?
Mhm.
All right, take it away, Bethany. That's just my overview of how it all fits together.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for inviting us here. I have a PowerPoint presentation to show you that we've developed for community partners to show you all the ways that GivePulse is tailored towards supporting community partners. And so let us see if we can share the screen here. Here we go. And let's see if this works. There's audio. So I actually have not tried to do this on Zoom quite yet. So let's see. So, so this introduction, and there's a short video that GivePulse has developed specifically for community partners to see how this works. And this is going to be like a brief overview of the entire platform. Let me know if you can't hear it.
Yeah, I don't think I hear sound, Bethany, but.
Is there a sound? It's okay, sound isn't necessary, but it's nice. It's got nice little music in the background. So basically just showing you like anybody can sign in here, and they have customization options. So if you like want to more specific details on all the members who are signing up, you can get those. Individuals will go in and start reporting their impacts, which could be their hours or any other metric that you're interested in reporting. And you can see the impacts here. And it tells you exactly how much money you raised and your economic impact through your volunteerism as well. And when individuals are finished volunteering, they can leave back feedback through their impacts. So it's more, you get both that qualitative and that quantitative feedback. Okay, so this is basically the overall structure of GivePulse and its usages. So it's mainly used as a volunteer portal. You can promote events and attract volunteers. You can promote any kind of event. Students can use this to promote their events. You can use this to promote any kind of volunteering event you're setting up in the community. You can use this to promote meetings, etc. And anyone can sign in as a volunteer. You don't have to be an Iowa State student to do this, even though it is sponsored by Iowa State. You can have a regular email address without, you don't have to have the Iowa State email address. You can go into Gmail or anything like that, and you can sign in. You can manage these events, so you can post and track them. You can manage the shifts. So a lot of volunteer opportunities have different kinds of shifts and different kinds of roles and responsibilities. You can manage those individually, or you can set an admin to manage those for you. You can assign certain jobs, and you can receive the data and the feedback. So this is really great for extending your reach. Like I said, you can track your impacts and your hours, and doing this will also allow you to see where the impacts are happening within your community. The GivePulse itself will populate some heat maps about your activity. And so this is really important if you're interested in seeing exactly where in the community that your impacts are happening. If you're writing grants, this could be a really important tool that provides some really cool visualizations of your activity. And also this gives you the opportunity to affiliate with other community partners. If you're hosting an event in partnership with another community partner, you can actually create an affiliation through GivePulse and post this event together, where all of that data from volunteerism is shared between the two entities. So here's an example of an organization that we have on GivePulse. So this would be the Exercise is the Medicine group at Iowa State. So this is a basic overview of what Exercise is Medicine is from the Iowa State website. It just gives you a small brief example of who they are and what they do. And so they have a page here on GivePulse, and this is what that page looks like. And so you'll see, and I'll go into more detail too about one of our partners, our community partners, and then not a student organization who was really successful using GivePulse. So you have, this is what the page will look like when you create it. You go in and you create the title or the name of your organization. You can give a description of everything about it. You can link it to your social media. So your YouTube, your personal website, your Facebook, your Twitter, your Instagram. You can select causes that you care about. And selecting the causes is really helpful for individuals who are looking to volunteer for like a very specific kind of cause. So once you select this tag, people who go into the Give Pulse to search for a certain tag like children and youth, yours will pop up under that. And here it tells you exactly how many people are within your group, what your collective impacts are, and what your economic impact is, and the total amount of hours that your group has dedicated to volunteerism. Also, it'll give you a list of all the members who are a part of this. If you prefer, there is also like a privacy setting to where you can hide your participants. You can hide all of your volunteers. You can hide all of your hours. You can hide your events if you prefer those to be private and invite only. That's also been proven to be very helpful. This is an example of an event posted by a group. So this is exercise time. And so you would see that you have how many positions are available, what the description is, and how many positions have been filled and the impacts and everything. But more importantly, you can see that there's this the big green register button here on the top right corner. And that's like the most important part of this page. It's like, that's what people are going to see, and that's what they're going to click to register to sign up for this event. And sharing events is very easy. There's multiple ways to do it. A really easy way is to just click this generated link. You can also click the URL link. This one's a bit of a shorter one. You can send email invitations. You can send out an email to all of the members of your group by just a click of a button. You can send automatic updates. If your members of your group opt in to do this, they'll also receive automatic updates whenever a new event has been posted for your group. So people can stay in touch, keeps them engaged. And this is some official documentation that Give Pulse produces for volunteers after they've completed volunteering and reported their hours. So I say hours, but really they're called impacts. And so impacts don't necessarily need to be hours. Some individuals and some organizations are more interested in different kinds of service. And so, for example, one example we like to give is the ISU blood drive might be interested in like how many like liters of blood did you help receive through donations today versus like how many hours did you work. And so once individuals finish that, they can print out a official documentation form that Give Pulse gives them to outline their hours. And this might be a really good thing for the volunteers who are interested in having something that they would like to put on their resumes or their CVs. And then it also produces some metrics for you if you're interested in seeing your impacts through charts, which I like to do. I love metrics. I love charts. They produce a bunch of those as well. So. And this is an example of the heat map that it produces that shows you your activity. So for this group, you can see that there's mostly activity happening around Iowa State University. And even so, if you zoom out, we can also see that there is some activity happening in like Texas, etc. If you partner with other partners in different areas, you can see some shared activity there as well. So it's not, you can see the whole breadth of where your outreach is. And this is just to show, this is a little bit older of a chart. I do need to update this, but this just shows pretty much the exponential growth of Give Pulse over time. Each year we have so many more students that engage in this, and we have, at the time we had nearly 4,000 students enrolled. Now we definitely have over 4,000 students enrolled. And I think we have over 16,000 hours now recorded volunteer hours.
Again, as Bethany pointed out, it's not campus specific. So, you know, as we roll this out in the community, any community member can enroll, and we could have many, many more. We've just focused a little bit more on growing student engagement to support community partners, because we didn't have a way to get other adults to volunteer. But yeah, we could grow that number further and adults like using this tool just as much as students do.
Okay, and so you said the sound didn't work for that last slide.
I don't think so, no.
Didn't work. Okay, then I'm
No,
gonna
it's
skip over-
not
it didn't.
much.
Okay, I'm gonna skip over this one then because this one does have a lot of talking. But this basically goes into more detail about how affiliations work. If you're interested in the way that you can connect with other partners and how that data is shared between the two, this goes into more detail, and I can also send out a link to this if people are interested. And so here, this is kind of shows like the hierarchy of how some of these groups work. So GivePulse works on a group structure where Iowa State GivePulse is like the main hub, and then each group below it can obtain its own subgroups. And so let's say you have like your asset and you have 3 different organizations and you want to track data and recruit and post events for each one of these organizations separately. You can do that and have them all as subgroups of asset so that you can view the data individually for each group, but then also it all aggregates back up to asset. And so you have information for all of the groups as well. And then even those groups can have their own subgroups and they can post events as well. And so this kind of shows you like how that would look visually. So you have asset and then you have different organizations and then each one has their own community event. And let's say these two have like a shared community event. They can affiliate on that event. And this shows how it works from a statewide level. And so you can have, let's say United Way in 3 different counties, and they can affiliate and share their events here. And then you can also have one like that's unrelated in a different part of the state or wherever. So the counties can share this data between their programs and it all aggregates back up to the original group. So if you're interested, you can track that county, both countywide and statewide. And signing up for this is really easy too. We tell students, for Iowa State students, it's like really simple because they already have an account since they have an Iowa State email address. So for Iowa State students, they would just need to go to the website and then click this, this red Iowa State sign via Iowa State button. If you have a Facebook or a Google or something else that you would like to sign on with, it's the same process. And so signing up is super easy. Yeah, that's the end of that. And I can also take this time to show you.
Yeah, show the real. Yeah.
I can take the time to show you one of our community partners who used GivePulse recently to create lab clinics for volunteers for giving COVID vaccines. And let's go to this page here.
Are you going to show local ones first, Bethany, or the Cerro Gordo, or?
Yeah, I was going to show the Cerro Gordo.
Let me maybe preface that a little bit. So again, we could easily show you, like we started working with the READS program and some various groups within United Way support. But what Bethany was going to show you is a really great application of another county that embraced this fully, just like maybe Story County is considering, and it's Cerro Gordo County. So I work closely with the Cerro Gordo health coordinator there, Elise DeVries. And last year we trained her through a class that I offer to deliver or to get started with GivePulse. And it's a great story because she just took it and ran with it. And so she just chatted with Bethany and I, a couple weeks ago, and she'd be willing even to give you a personal story about what she did in Cerro Gordo to basically, she used it for all COVID events and vaccination clinics. And she just raves about how essential it was for her to manage this over the last 6 months. And she's got many stories of like older adults that would be waiting for her to release the new event so they could sign up and volunteer right away. So the older adults and everyone in the community, found it very easy to use the tool and would eagerly be opting into volunteer opportunities and to help out at these clinics. So it's a great application, but she can probably tell you that in a personal way. And she said she'd be willing to do a follow-up demonstration or help you understand the application of this at other counties. But Bethany can show you her website.
Yeah, for sure. And just to give a little context, this is the main Iowa State Give Pulse page. So this is what people will see when they go to the main Iowa State Give Pulse hub. And it is from here that you can submit your organization into the network. And so to do that, you would just go to this green submit group button here. And it's easy as that. It'll give you a form, and then you fill out the form with the information, the name, address, description. If you have any like pictures or links to your social media, you can also add them there at that point. You can always go back to it later. It's very user-friendly. It very much acts like a social media of its own. The way that this website works, kind of like a social media for volunteers. And so everything is colorful and pretty and nice to follow. And so this is just like our main page here. You can see we have like different kinds of features on this page. So you can see all of the subgroups that are within Give Pulse. You can see all of our affiliates, people that we have partnered with specifically to host a certain event. All of our causes, our total amount of people, economic impacts, how many dollars. Also points. So you can, if you are interested in doing this as like an incentive kind of thing, you can assign points for certain amounts of volunteerism, and then the members of that group can kind of compete against each other for the most points. It's kind of like a fun thing to do, and then you can trade in your points for prizes or whatever the group sets. And then if you scroll down, you can see all of the most recent events that have been posted. So these are yeah, all of these events. So we have Sarah Gordo is currently recruiting for dispensing vaccinations.
Yeah, she basically posted that today, June 4th, it says. So, you know,
yeah.
On one of those, so they see a real world event there.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, it's a really easy way to go on, and you scroll down, you post an event, you can find it here. If you're interested in looking specifically, you can type in keywords, or you can look up that specific group and just find events from them. It's cool. It posts your little Twitter feed on the side too. Produces these metrics. It's really neat. And so I can show you Sarah Gordo. So this is what their page. So what they did to do this is they went to this page, click submit group, and then it populated this page for them. So Sarah Gordo County Department of Public Health. So this is theirs. They've had a lot of success with this, like Dr. Welk said. They currently have almost 200 people, a total of 125 impacts in 544 hours, which is like stellar. So awesome. They affiliate with ISU Give Pulse, and yeah, they post events, and it all shows up down here on this page. And so it'd be easy if you were interested in just like showing your group and your activity and the things you're posting to click this link. You can share with friends and share it in all these different ways. You can post it to LinkedIn even. That's kind of a new feature, really cool. And then you can invite. And yeah, you can see
one of the events just so they see what volunteers see.
So this one has 0 remaining, which means it's already been filled up. Very cool. So this is what a volunteer would see. So let's say I want to go to this page and I want to register for this. Normally, if there was an open space where it says registration closed, there would be that big green register now button, but registration has been filled, so registration is closed for this event.
And that's what she described, is she almost, when she releases an event, she has so many volunteers, and this is what you probably want to hear. She has so many volunteers that when she releases an event, they're like clicking the button like right away because they want a spot. I mean, I'm not making that up, but she has described that the volunteers really understand the system. They like it. They find it easy to use, and has had no trouble filling volunteers. And that's specific for COVID, but it would apply to almost anything. And it speaks to the fact that she's been able to pull in any type of person from their community. They don't have campus and students involved, so they just are relying on many residents to volunteer. And she just has had really good success.
2 things I would like to point out with Give Pulse and the way it works, and if you're interested in tracking that data. So if you have a list of people that you already know are going to be within your organization and you don't want to go in and add them in one by one, you can upload a CSV file of everyone that you want to add with their name and email address. And that will go ahead and create an account. All they would have to do is they'll get an email saying, verify that you're creating an account. They'll just click that button and they'll have the account here.
Yeah.
And they'll be within your group. So you don't have to worry about, doing it one-on-one if you already have a list of people that you know for sure that you would like to have in your group. Second is, if you're interested in looking at the data more specifically, more closely, GivePulse will generate and export an Excel file for you with all of the information that you could want regarding your events and your memberships and your hours. And I can show you what it looks like if you're interested. This is a quick view of what this this page will look like if you're an admin of this page. And so this just gives you, all of the ways that you can edit the group, add features. There's ways to add like a banner to your page that or a pop-up that will pop up as soon as they sign in. If you have like any certain special announcements, it'll pop up on the page first. Let's see, we can do impacts here. You can export your impacts and export your reflections. And so reflections are that kind of qualitative piece where people wrote in what they felt about volunteering, what they felt about the event specifically, and all of their experiences. So if you were to export impacts,
one of the key advantages of this over like say Get Connected or these other platforms is that the organizations have complete autonomy to manage their own page. There's a little bit of a learning curve there, but as I've mentioned that many partners can figure this out, and we also can provide some tech support and even tangible support to get organizations on board and get them rolling with this. So once they get started, then they are taking off and running with it, and they could figure it out on their own. So that's what we envision being a effective transition, is that the organizations can manage this independently.
Yes, and you can have different individuals taking on different roles within that group, which is really cool. It's nice to have someone else managing your members too. And so this is what it looks like when you export that file. It can give you all the details of like the dates, the place, names, email addresses, hours, which group they belong to, what kind of shifts they had.
That data, but this is just showing you that it's a very robust database system. So it's a very powerful tool that can do almost anything you'd want it to do.
Right. I think the best benefit of this is to go in, and if you want to like figure out your total economic impact for like a certain group, you can go in here and then select those columns and then add up those specific numbers if you want more detailed information. So does anybody have any questions? I know that was like a lot all at once. So
yeah, maybe we can
yeah.
questions.
Hi, this is Latifa. So I know there's some folks who are concerned that it's going to be a little confusing for volunteers, that volunteers are going to see that this is an ISU platform with the banner across the top and assume that it's specifically for Iowa State students or Iowa State activities. Have you heard that from any organizations that their volunteers have been confused? Or is there a way for a specific organization to, you said they have complete autonomy over their page. Can they just post a link to their specific page from their website? People don't have to go log in through the main GivePulse page.
Yes.
Right. That's what Bethany was showing you with Cerro Gordo, is it has the Cerro Gordo logo. And so every organization would look like they have, that's their page. And so they could send links to their partners, or it could be very specific. So.
Okay, great.
So how many, did you say you don't have any kind of outside Iowa State organizations yet signed up yet to use GivePulse in Story County? Is that correct?
No, we do, but they probably, Bethany, can you maybe describe, wasn't it the Reads program or the other ones that you worked with? So
yeah, United Way uses
United Way and Gene Cressy about a year or 2 years ago to build some momentum for this, and they loved it, and they started using it. So there's pockets of this, even going several years back, but groups kind of ebb and flow probably, but with a very focused effort, I'm sure we'd have a lot of traction.
So what are you doing then to help market it to the other organizations? And I was thinking, there were a lot of organizations that signed up to the volunteer center and stuff that may not know yet to use Give Pulse or how to maybe sign things up. So are you trying to meet with them? Are you sending
Yeah, I
information?
can comment a little bit on that. So, I mean, our challenge is always a chicken and the egg problem, right? So we can line up volunteers, but we have to have things for them to do. And so to do that, we need community partners to have a page. So you're right, we always have to build more partnerships with community, but we also need students. Looks like my internet might be failing on me, but hopefully you're hearing me still. So one thing we've talked with Jean Cressy about is, we would be able to support the broader promotion of this when the county's ready, but we sort of need to have a commitment from the county and from organizations that they want this. And so one of my thoughts is that there could be a shared volunteer coordinator. So before, the Story County was paying for support from VC Story, but with a more intentional shared partnership, a volunteer coordinator could be hired that would serve the county and the campus at the same time. And that person could ensure that we have really good coordination and integration. So as a faculty member and Bethany as a student, we have many other things we do. So this isn't my day job, but we would be able to coordinate this with a volunteer coordinator if one was available. So for us to really do this to the right level, it'd be nice to have a formalized partnership. And one thought that occurred to me, let me take a step back. I actually have interns that I take that could support this, and they're working right now with Bethany and I. And so in the transition right now over the summer, I have 2 interns that we've started mentioning hints that this could be of interest to you. And they would be able to help make a transition in the summer to help ease organizations into this, to help them do it. And then my task is to try to find new interns in the fall and spring and keep that going. So I'm only able to do it if I have people power on my end. And if I don't have a way to pay them, I have to rely on interns to do it. But that's a sustainable model. And we could have 2 or 3 interns that are completely dedicated to this every semester. And we would keep training them over time to support this. But another more powerful model would be a shared volunteer coordinator that would provide stability and sustainability. And that person could be jointly working for the county and the campus. And the model I'll give, I don't know if you know how the sustainability position works in the city of Ames, but there's a Ames sustainability coordinator, and that person is also the ISU sustainability coordinator. And they have basically 2 hats, and that person does both jobs for the campus and the community. And I'm envisioning almost a similar model being very effective here, that there could be a volunteer coordinator that is also the campus volunteer coordinator. And the reason we need that person is to train the interns, to support the students, and to make sure this thing keeps running. Because Bethany and I can't do it ourselves. We run out of hours as well.
So are you
talking about
potentially
Mary Rankin's position?
Pardon?
I'm sorry. Lisa, is it okay if I ask?
Yep, go ahead.
You're talking about Mary Rankin's position.
Yeah,
correct?
exactly. Yeah.
Is she an ISU or a city employee?
Both. It's a really creative position, and we'd be able to work with.
There has to be an employer of record.
I am not sure actually, but I could check with Provost Wickert. But the fact that the campus and the community were able to figure this out means that we could figure it out again. And the provost is very interested in this and is on the board, the United Way board, Jonathan Wickert. And with a little bit of help from the administrative levels at ISU, we could make this work. It's just a matter of getting the right people at the table and formalizing that. Many other organizations have also set up, or across the country, we could also establish some kind of MOU that would jointly define our shared commitment to this. And that's what I would favor, so that we would know what our task is for you, and you would know what you're agreeing to do as well, like helping other counties do things. And so some kind of memorandum of understanding would go a long way to documenting our shared commitment to this.
So are you, okay, I want to make sure I wasn't on mute because I tend to do that. So are you potentially looking for money from the county, from the city? I don't know if you're a 501c3 where you can go through the asset process. What is your potential future?
Right. I mean, we'd be open to, we've talked to Jean Cressy and we've worked with her a lot. And we know that she has in the past supported the VC Story group to do some of the same tasks. So instead of her supporting VC Story, she could support this kind of partnership. I don't, Jean might obviously need to weigh in on the financial aspect of that, or I don't know where the money would come from. And the university might be willing to meet us halfway. Maybe they would cover some of the funding. So this software, just to fill you in, is about a $40,000 piece of software. It's very expensive. So right now we're getting it kind of at cost. And the goal of it running through the campus is that I can get hopefully the campus to pay for the software to sustain it. And then, we figure out how to build a volunteer partner coordinator that helps ensure the sustainability of the system and the tools to everyone's benefit. So, again, we're ready to go. It's just maybe building a sustainable model with a paid staff would go a long way to ensuring good outcomes.
Do you have another demonstration scheduled with Jean for asset?
We did a series of 3 of these about, how long ago was that, Bethany? A year ago, a year and a half or more?
It was quite a while ago. I
and
remember
they-
attending one quite a while ago.
And they fully buy into it and they like it as well. And so Jean is fully committed to this as far as what Asset and United Way wants it. And it's a matter of finding that ground. If it serves your needs as well, I think it's a win-win. But Jean is fully committed to making this transition and we're committed to helping. But so, we'd love to figure out how to make it work for the whole county. And I think it can.
Have you and Jean discussed anything about cost when you've discussed the asset agencies using this?
Well, again, there's basically, I think about a year and a half ago, we were able to offer this more at a complimentary, or, just we were opting people in because we had funding for Give Pulse through U-Turn. And then we also had People Power, Bethany and some interns that were working through U-Turn. But U-Turn requires funding as well. So, at the time we're shopping around for partnerships because we need the partnerships to keep our programming going. And, so at the time we were offering our services for free and we still are. So, we can offer a lot of this service through this internship model and through the community engagement club. And so Bethany and I and many others are willing to work in kind to get this going. But I'm again saying that for really effective sustainability, it'd be great to have a true person dedicated to serving the organizations and the campus coordination of the tool for a very cost-effective approach.
Here's one thing I'm kind of wondering about. When the Volunteer Center was doing a lot of the volunteer recruitment management for asset agencies, there were several agencies who were setting up kind of their own volunteer recruitment and training. And the reason was because they had very specific needs. And I think the best example is always Access, the domestic violence and sexual assault victim services, because they didn't want to just, and I was an Access volunteer a long time ago. And I know there's a 32-hour training session. You go through background checks. You need something from the chief of police in your town that says that you're somebody who they know of no reason why you can't work with survivors of domestic or sexual abuse, etc. I'm struggling with how their specific needs for very vetted volunteers and very trained volunteers fits with the Give Pulse model. And so, and there's probably other examples with asset agencies as well. That I think both Sandra and Lisa and Latifah would know about also. So I guess I'm trying to say, I guess what I'm saying is, because we have so many agencies that have some specific needs for different expertise, vetting, training, whatever, have our asset agencies had this demonstration and feel like this would be useful to them? Because if we were to say, yeah, let's do this, and we found out only a few of our agencies it really fit for, that's my concern.
Yeah, I think, but Bethany pointed out is a really important point that the events and the registrations can be private. So organizations can manage their own internal volunteers and they don't have to post them publicly.
I can chime in here too. I have a couple of extra details that I can.
Yeah, she's on the board. She's on the asset group as the student liaison. Yeah.
Good.
So in GivePulse, you do have the option of uploading things like documentation and within the group itself. So you can upload different kinds of files. You can create different kinds of surveys. You can create your own surveys, kind of like Qualtrics or like the quiz websites that you see. There also is a background checking service. This is something that we do not pay for. It is something separate that you would have to pay for yourself, but it is there. We don't have anyone that currently uses it, but we know that it is used by some organizations outside of Iowa State University. And so to answer your question, I think that GivePlus has the power to do all of these things that organizations have very specific needs for. It's just that some of them are outside of the bounds of like what we can fund. So things like the background checks,
Sure.
but otherwise.
Some agencies have to still do some things themselves because of their very specific needs.
But what Bethany's saying is that most of the features that they're going to want are built into the system. So I doubt that there's things that they have that haven't been encountered in this national tool. So this is used nationally for many different applications. I'm sure they've got the resources, most of which would be available to secure for unique situations. It also allows fundraising. It allows other kinds of checking and tracking, but and organizations can decide if they want to affiliate or share or make them public or private. And so those could be, again, figured out down the road.
Yeah, essentially any feature that you would want as a volunteer portal is built within the website. We have not necessarily used all of those features, but they are there.
And Bethany is currently the student liaison or campus liaison to the asset group. So she's sits in on these meetings every month, I believe, right? And she can ask, or we can do another demonstration for asset if the stars align and everyone's ready to go. We could formally make a plan of how this could roll out and make sure that people are have their needs met and they're committed to the plan. And I think we could get people on board.
I totally see the excitement around the platform. I think it is an incredible platform, and I love all of the different ways you can collect data and the value of having that data available when you're applying for grants or just seeing your impact, and United Way being able to see their impact and all these different agencies, and Asset being able to track the asset agencies. I think there's a lot of value. I guess the only part that I'm a little confused about is the volunteer coordinator position. If that is a direction that we eventually end up going, it's my understanding that the volunteer center, one of the reasons the volunteer center is closing down is that a lot of agencies are starting to do their own coordination. So would this volunteer coordinator primarily be the IT person for the platform if a service agency is having trouble getting an event loaded or learning the platform, and then be the person who's training new organizations as they come on? What would that person's role be?
I think a little bit of both. Yeah, that's the vision. And that's what I think Jean would be willing to support going forward. Perhaps, again, I'm not speaking for her, but the fact that the Volunteer Center Story County wasn't able to meet these groups' needs shows the advantage of GivePulse. We'd have to win these groups back, but I think we can do that by showing them the power and potential of GivePulse, and also having a person that would serve that role to make that easy for them, manage it. And Bethany and I do this already, but we just have limited ability to continue to serve as well. So that's where a dedicated person, I think, would be a strong, it would ensure that things are going to work for everyone's best interests if we can make that work, and some kind of formalized MOU or partnership with the university. So I think we could leverage this with Provost Wickert and say, look, we have this opportunity to really do something special here. But to do this, we need to create a shared position similar to the sustainability coordinator. And hopefully that would drive the right opportunity and we could hire the right person. And so I think a lot of this can just make a nice transition. And I'm willing to bet these organizations would see the value once they give it a chance. And we would, the coordinator would make it happen.
Yeah, I totally see the value for the organizations. I mean, the ability to track all of this information is pretty incredible. And then pull out the data that you're specifically looking for. The value for grant writing is staggering.
Yep. And once we that's where, again, U-turn comes in, and there's broader roles that our team and the campus partnership could also help and support organizations in grant writing and enhancing programming and enhancing volunteerism. So the Give Pulse is just the anchor that kind of holds it all together, but that it does create these opportunities for additional partnerships and service learning and many other things that I think are long overdue of formalizing these partnerships between the campus and community.
I think
not to monopolize. Sorry, go ahead, Sandra.
Go ahead, Latif.
I was just going to say, I went on Give Pulse because I wanted to see what it would look like if I was just a community member who was looking for an opportunity. I didn't really know exactly what I wanted, but I knew I wanted to volunteer. And it was difficult for me to navigate, having never been there before or used the platform. It was really confusing. So I just wanted to share that piece. Like I know that the platform that Volunteer Center uses is different, but it just seemed a lot simpler. It felt like there was a whole lot going on the Give Pulse page. It just seemed difficult to navigate.
We haven't had any of those issues, at least from our end, but that's again where we could help provide training and videos or video instruction. But you should be able to type right into the search button. You're interested in a certain group. Say you want to volunteer for Salvation Army, you can click Salvation Army. Or like if you're interested in working with kids, you can type kids, and as Bethany said, things would pop up. The reason maybe you didn't find things is that it's sort of this chicken and the egg problem again. So once we have enough organizations and we get these affiliations going, it's going to be far more robust than what the VC Story page had. And our other thought is that we could probably replicate and work with the organizations that were doing things on VC Story to help them build these transition pages and help them, pull their volunteers back in so that the transition is relatively easy.
Would it be possible to develop a page that just lists all of the opportunities? Like you wouldn't have to know specifically that you're looking for something through Salvation Army. You just want to see all the opportunities that are available.
So I can actually show there's a way to do that on the main page.
They just have to scroll down and see them all. Yeah,
one way to do it is to scroll down and it shows you all of the events that are hosted within the main network.
You could search by distance, like how far away they are. Yeah.
Okay. And so if you wanted to, so one way to do it is just to scroll down, and this shows all the most recently posted events. Another way to do it is to go to the top bar and click on Get Involved. And then this shows you all of the events happening as well. And so you can do it also by distance here. You can scroll through and see.
Okay.
You can do it by groups as well if you're interested in looking at events by certain groups, so like 4-H, access, etc.
Take the next right onto Iowa 14.
I think someone's breaking up a little bit.
I think the way we envision the asset agencies using this is that it's a tool that could be used to supplement their efforts, what they're already doing manually.
Right. It's a choice. And I think it'll evolve over time. Like they could some are going to jump in right away, see easy value. Some might want to wait. But I think over time, it does provide the bandwidth to support all of them.
The cost part is something that I think we'd like to know more about. Initially, when we've had discussions about this, the cost, it's usually been mentioned as free or
Right.
possible nominal fee. So
Well, I'm
that can be
committing,
nailed down a
yeah.
little more. That would be helpful.
I'm committing, I'm letting you know that the software is expensive, but that my pitch would be that, again, if I had support from you guys as the Story County Board of Supervisors and Asset and United Way, that's going to make it easy for me to make a pitch to Provost Wickert to say, look, we need a permanent funding source for this software. So I always have to do that too. I do this out of the passion of building this and don't have $40,000 to pay for it, but it's not a lot of money at the university level. And so my, again, suggestion is it's a shared benefit and shared expense. And so I think the university should be paying some to support the cost of this so that we can say it's free. And we've been delivering it for free. We have been paying for the system, but I need a way to pay for it in the future. So, and I think a position of a shared, like a sustainability coordinator that I mentioned could be a shared expense also. So, I'm envisioning that being the only expense, to be honest, a 50-50 proposition of a volunteer coordinator that would serve the campus and community. And maybe it's funded by, United Way with the same funding they had and or supplemented from the university if we can get that leverage. But
so this $40,000 is an annual fee?
That's for the software, yeah.
Sandra, I have a question.
That being a university expense, but I need leverage from all of you to go to the camp, to go to my administrators and say, we need this support, and there's a demand and interest in this, and then that'll make it easier for me to make that case.
Sandra, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Is it, and I don't know, you've had conversations with Jean about this, is the thinking that the money for the part of the money for the shared position would come from current asset funding? Or has it gotten that far?
We have not had a detailed funding discussion about it. As I mentioned, the discussions we've had about it, was basically, good tool, let's introduce it to the agencies, make sure that they know enough about it to see if it will really meet their needs. But the cost, at least in my mind, has always sort of been an unanswered question. Free now, but how much is it going to cost later? Not sure.
And Greg, let me give you some background to kind of understand. The money would come, my concern is if the money comes from current asset funding, that would come from a pool of money that the funders are putting there to provide services. So it might lower the money that goes to actual services to clients to do this. Granted, it might mean more volunteers and more support for agencies, but that's the reason we kind of have to look at that and say, are the agencies really, what value will the agencies get out of it? I understand the potential, and when I was writing down notes as Bethany was presenting, one of the things that there was the privacy settings and all of that, but I'm not operationally part of any of those agencies, so I can't say how well does it fit in with agency A, B, or C. And I think that's our due diligence that we have to figure out because of, the question of where the money comes from. It comes from what the funders are already putting in asset. We have to do a cost benefit analysis on this. And I certainly understand that to expand GivePulse, you need to have more resources, and interns can be great, but interns also don't provide the sustainability long-term,
Exactly.
something that a paid staff person does. And I guess, and this is just one person talking, it seems to me we've got some due diligence to do and maybe need to talk with our agencies more just to see how it fits with their needs.
Sure.
It's an amazing tool. I agree with
Yeah,
it.
and Bethany would be willing, or I would as well, to go back to asset, do presentations, even one-on-one. Like if there's groups that just don't know, we could do another dog and pony show and show them how it works.
I think
and-
our asset admin team, and Sandra is one of the people on that team, I think they would be the people to kind of further this along, to figure out how to, with you, how to get that done, to get that back to a funder decision.
Mhm.
Yeah. And you're right, there's a lot of potential in sharing a position when agencies or groups of agencies or entities have needs that are mutual. So I think that, Mary Rankin's position is a good thing to look at as possible way to do this. We just need to have a little more sense that where our agencies are, because we would be basically just having not funded a volunteer center and then going immediately to funding something else that hasn't been, that we don't know how it, will it work better for our agencies? And we need to, and I also really hate to say, let's fund a position for a year.
Right.
As a
We should make a longer term. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, as a, see if it works. Because that's money that could have gone to service provision if it didn't work. So I want to have a little more certainty in my mind that this is the right solution for our asset agencies. And I think we can get that information.
Yeah, and we have again, we're working in kind already. That on our CCPH page, and I could send you a link to this. We have a way that a community partner could contact us and say that they'd like to set up a page. We could help them set it up.
Mhm.
We have interns that are ready to go to do this kind of work in the transition phase. So we could build a little bit of this, just moving forward in kind with intern support. But again, as I appreciate you seeing the value of a sustainable person that would be provide that continuity is really important for everyone's benefit. And that's why I'm pitching that long term. I don't think it's spending more money. It's just spending the money that already has been allocated to VC Story more efficiently and effectively, because we can do a lot more with that same allocation of money and with a more powerful tool and in a more distributed way, and accomplish the goals that have been in there from the beginning. So that, Jean mentioned that she basically helped create, or United Way created VC Story to serve this need. But now most of that can be done in a distributed way with a tool and, and partnerships.
Thank you.
Yeah, I am glad that we were talking about the interns versus a more permanent position, because that was actually was one of the questions on my list was, if it's interns, then there would be constant turnover and training needed of the new interns, and what would that mean for support for the agencies? So yeah, I agree with Linda that
Another option
definitely
is that,
see the value.
I mean, these organizations or United Way or others could have their own interns. So I also work closely with our department intern coordinator. And so while there's value in me supervising an intern, there could also be interest of students interning with Story County or United Way or Asset. And that's a very desirable position for a student in community and public health to learn, in a real office setting, like how things work. And that you guys could expose them to things that I can't expose them to. So there could be interns on both ends, and a coordinator that works in both shops.
Sure. Great. Well, does anyone have any additional questions?
Just contact information for Greg and Bethany.
Yeah, my email is just gwelk@iastate.edu. So just first initial, last name, and IA State.
And mine is the same, B. McCurdy at IA State.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, both of you, for coming or for presenting today. That the whole reason that that I wanted to have you come and do this was to do exactly what you did, was walk us through the platform, help us see what the public will see and what the organizations will see as they're using it. And you just give us a rundown on what it all looks like. So I really do appreciate you taking the time and all the information
I guess
that you shared.
one other thought, Linda, or for any of you, is if you want to do due diligence, I would be happy to make a connection to Elise DeVries from Cerro Gordo County. If you'd like, she volunteered. She said she'd be willing to talk to anyone about her experience with GivePulse so that you're hearing it from a county, right? Not from a university partner. And she'd be willing, I could set or forward her contact information to any or all of you, and she'd be willing to jump on the phone and do a similar Zoom session with you anytime, she said. So
That might be useful for our admin team.
yeah, but so should
I would provide it to Sandra, provide that information to Sandra.
Sandra? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll reach out.
I'll send you an email after this.
Oh, that'd be
Greg, to
perfect.
connect.
And then, and then I can make the bridge to Elise. And again, it's a great story that she has, and she could walk you through her experience. And she started where we've been at with organizations and just trying to figure it out and saying, how do I get this to work? And now she like knows it. She's a power user. She knows everything about it. But that came by using it, just like we all get used to using Word or PowerPoint. It's just another tool that she's built really good skills with. And so she can tell you all about how it works for her volunteers and all that.
Thanks.
Yeah, it would be good to hear her experience.
Great.
All right, any additional
So
questions?
we're excited to have help and looking forward to next discussion. So you can reach out to Bethany or I, and we could also connect any of you to the ISU admin all the way up to the provost if and when that's needed. So if you have questions and really want to cast a vision about what might be possible, I think we could get people at the table.
So, great.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks. Appreciate that. Any additional final questions from anyone? I hear a lot of silence. I didn't do a formal approval of the agenda, mainly because it was a work session. So I'm not sure if I need a formal motion to adjourn, but I will ask for one just in case.
Okay, so moved.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Thank you very much, and we are adjourned.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks, everybody. It
bye.
was a great discussion.